goes after 2. Good evening, everybody. It's February 5th, 2020. Welcome to Model Railroading Live, the #1 show, model railroading show in the world, broadcasting live from the greatest city in the world, New York City. Welcome. Balmy evening here, Staten Island, New York. 50 some odd degrees. I don't know what it's doing in the rest of the country. But here it's pretty balmy. I got the windows open and we're doing really well. We're continuing in the series of bigger is not necessarily better. In the last 3 series, last 3 episodes that we had a Bill Baronic, aka the track planner, on, and he explained about preparing a layout. What does one want in a layout? How he unfortunately has to be the stern dad who has to tell you no to your dreams, because getting that 20-pound layout that you like into a 2-pound bag is not going to work for you. And so what we've done in this is use the my peninsula. I've changed that in the layout room, but it's the train route is behind me. But we use this peninsula. We changed the peninsula to basically, what one could do in a 6-foot, 9-foot length here, and just so that the modeler, the hobbyist that wants to get into doing a model railroad, doesn't get frustrated, doesn't get overwhelmed, basically learns on a 6-foot or 9-foot, section, that many skills that are involved, electrical and carpentry. So we continue in the 3rd series tonight, and our special guest is Joe Fugate. He's the managing editor, the guy that pays everybody at Model Railroading Hobbyist Magazine, also Trainmaster TV, an author of Build Your Dream Layout, and stuff he's going to talk about tonight, along with Andy Crawford. And a special other guest is Miles Hale, extraordinaire modeler, all-around nice guy, and go Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs won, and Miles was in a very, very happy mood that night. So congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. Congratulations to you, Miles, on that 50 years from beginning to what timing. Really great. So
how about those Chiefs?
There you go. So we're continuing tonight with, like I said, editor and of Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, and also Trainmaster TV. He'll be Andy Crawford and him will be talking about Toma. I'll be handling the questions, the Q&A. So I'll hand it over to you, Andrew.
All right, guys. I know a lot of you guys, we've talked about Toma a little bit in the talking as we've talked about my layout stuff, and we've had other members on here that have done modular arrangements, be them portable or movable, in much the same way as the Toma thing. I give Joe credit for, and as I was talking to him a couple nights ago, we were setting up for this thing, give him credit for codifying and for putting a word to what I was doing. I didn't have a title for it other than it was the mess I was calling my railroad. So I'm really excited to be the guy who come up with that concept, and the lifeblood of that, how it's matured, has really been interesting to follow. My first foray of following Toma in the magazine was, this basic idea of building a flat platform. But I'm really impressed with these modules that have the backdrop and the valance on them. And if you guys have not been paying attention to that, Model Railroad Hobbyist, do yourself justice and go check those out. So give us an idea of where that came from, and how did that come to fruition, and what gave you the onus to publish and document it?
Well, the original idea was the MRH staff. We were talking and trying to figure out what could we do that would help the armchair guys get out of the armchair, because you can get in this mode where you get paralysis by analysis, as we call it. And you're not really getting a lot of new information. And so you're just kind of chasing your tail after a while. You just keep going around and around and around. So the way to get out of that sort of vapor lock mode that you're in is to actually go and get new information. And the best way to do that is to actually build something. So we thought, you don't really need to fill a basement. How about we just do one module? So I did an editorial, I think in the May issue back in 2015, and I called it the One Module Challenge. And the idea is go build one module. And if you're an armchair guy, that will give you new data to put into your analysis process and take that module and experience the full scope of the hobby. So the idea is build one module, say 4 by 6 feet or 2 by 6 feet, 2 by 6, build a 2 by 6 module, and complete it all the way, build the bench work, put the track, roadbed and track in, wire it, um, put scenery in, do the details, trees, structures, and run trains on it. The thing is, just running trains on a 2 by 6 module, you can't really do that very well. So, over the years, the hobby's developed this concept of staging. And so I then said, well, build a flat top staging yard, put 3 tracks on it, go get yourself a 1 by 12, put 3 tracks on it and hook one of those to either one or both ends of your module. Now you can run trains through the scene. And anyway, the idea is to get you going, actually get you to experience the full scope of the hobby. And it's something you can do. It's not years. You could do it in weeks or months now, and it's not going to break the bank. And so then the idea evolved from there. And it's like, well, why don't we build more home layouts that way? Because we can, you can build it a piece at a time. You get a lot of advantages. You can actually have a dirty space where you work on the module. You can actually create some maybe assistance mechanisms, such as Miles has demonstrated the thing, what the A-frame-o-matic, Miles, that allows you to turn the module any which way, including, imagine being able to put tortoises on a module without crawling around under the module. You just turn it over and very conveniently install the tortoises. Bottom line is, if you're working in a space that's very comfortable, you don't have to crawl around, get pull muscles or anything, trying to get under or have solder drip in your face or any of that sort of stuff. You can actually do very convenient construction work, do your dirty scenery work there. When you're very comfortable and you can essentially build your layout at the workbench, then you do your best work too. Because when you're uncomfortable, you want to get it over with as quick as you can. So that was the idea.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big fan of being able to work like the track work. I know I was talking about some of the crazy stuff I do with track work, and I build it on removable sections at the workbench and take it to the layout, even though, but that being able to take the module down, do all of your track work down at a low level, it also lets us build our layouts at much higher levels, where I'm a big fan. My layout's quite literally at eye level. Now, I'm a relatively short guy. I don't butt my head very much, but I am fairly short. But I built my layout up at 56 inches or 58 inches. That's a comfortable height to work on it. But with the modules, I can take them down and work on them. So I found it to be to
And
open a lot of avenues to modeling I couldn't have pursued otherwise.
Andy, Ralph Renzetti would like to know what Toma means, Toma.
Yes. Okay. I was thinking we should explain where that came from. So it stands for the one module, and I put one module in quotes, approach, and TOMA, the one module approach. Reason why people have asked, well, why isn't it the sectional? Because we're talking, say, a home layout, sectional home layout. Modules tend to be more cookie cutter, right? It's the same thing over and over and over and over. Whereas sectional, it can be different sections. You can have sections that aren't uniform. Modular tends to be more uniform. So my answer is, it could be either. It could be sectional or it could be modular. We could have called it TOSA. But that's why I said, so I had to pick one. So I picked module and I put it in quotes. See, so it's the one module approach. So module is used loosely in that term. It could be either a section, which means irregular, or it could be a module, which means more regular. So that's where it came from, Toma.
Where David Barrow, many years ago, built the Cat Mountain Santa Fe, come up with this domino concept, but all of the modules were exactly 2 foot by 4 foot. The idea was to make the bench work as ambiguous as possible, and he could scrape everything off the top and put something else on it. But that always, in my mind, limited so much. I mean, it works really well if you're a desert modeler, as Dave Barrow is. But for those of us that are modeling much more mountainous regions, the curvature of the benchwork and the undulations in the scenery are part of the fascination. And Toma supports that. Of course, it could be in different ways, but it supports it in a way that's codified, in a rational way that people can understand in order to build it. Which is where I'm really impressed with this new stuff you've been doing over the last couple of years, with including the balance and the backdrop as a single module. That makes it especially useful for those of us that don't build layouts because we don't own their home or they're in a rental space. We may not have the final destination for the layout already.
Right, right. So let me.
While you're getting that up, Michael Lambertini wants to know. He goes, "Hey, Joe, we all know Andrew builds his out of pink foam. How do you build your
How do I build mine?
right?"
Okay. Before I share, then, um, one of the concepts. First of all, Toma is not a particular construction method. It's a construction philosophy. So many different methods could be used to build a Toma layout. Okay. You could do foam, you could do wood bench work, you could do metal bench work, you could do, basically whatever you can dream up. One concept would be to build put a bunch of tables around the room, anchor them to the wall, and then build things that you sit on the tables and hook together. See, that could even be Toma. So
Like T-track.
yes, yes. What I do, my goal. Well, first of all, I had a big monolithic layout in my basement. It's now called the Siskiyou Line 1 because that one is being dismantled. And I'm replacing it with what I'm calling Siskiyou Line 2, which is the Toma version of the Siskiyou Line. And one of the main reasons why I want to do this is because we're currently in the house that we're in, and the location where we're at is because we're taking care of my 91-year-old mom. But when she passes, we want to basically sell the house, move to a new location, and some rural property with outbuilding for model railroad hobbyists and space for a train layout and so on. So basically, the current train layout, the Siskiyou Line 1, was dumpster fodder, right? Because I know I'm going to move. So it's like, what should I do? So I thought, well, I've been preaching this Toma thing. How about I build a Toma Siskiyou Line? And since I don't know how long it's going to be until we move, then I can get as far as I can possibly get in my basement with the Toma Siskiyou Line. And then when it comes time to move, no big deal. It comes apart, it's movable. What was it, Andy, we were talking about the other day? It's not.
It's movable, not portable, is the way
It's
I've always
right.
explained mine.
Right. That's the concept. To the difference here between modular techniques and sectional techniques have been around for decades, and it's primarily been used for show layouts, right? And those are designed to be portable. We're talking about something that's movable, not necessarily portable. Okay. So, and sectional methods, modular methods have not been really explored a lot for home layouts. It's been kind of an offbeat thing or a side niche approach. It's not a mainstream approach. We think Toma needs to be a mainstream approach. At least it needs to be mainstream enough that anybody that is looking at building a layout, Toma is one of the things that's on the list, and they need to evaluate whether or not they're going to go with Toma or they're going to go with some other method, a monolithic, anchor it to bolt it to the walls or whatever you're going to do. So Toma needs to always be on the list, and you need to decide should I do Toma, pros and cons, or should I not? And so for me, I wanted the ability to have the layout movable. Okay. One of the things that's interesting, just an aside, recently did a some Trainmasters TV videos on Bruce Chubb's Sunset Valley. And those who've been in the hobby for a while know that Bruce Chubb, he came on the scene in the late 60s, early 70s and model railroader, his Sunset Valley. And then over time, then what happened is he built the Sunset Valley in his basement and evolved it and grew it. And then he retired and sold the house and then got a new house with a much bigger basement. And so it turned out, in talking with Bruce, what he did was actually Toma. And he was doing it in the 70s because he explained to me, he said, he showed me the way the modules were put together, and they were deliberately designed in sections to easily come apart, his layout. And he would actually